What's happening, people? Welcome back to my channel. It ends Burnley 2, Tottenham 2. Is it 2 points dropped or 1 point gained? Let me know how you feel about that after what we've just seen. Let me know how you feel right now as a Tottenham fan, as well as answering my question. But before we get going, if you're new to the channel, please do subscribe. Appreciate all the support. Let's make 2026 a year to remember. It's not looking that way for Spurs, though, unfortunately, because that was a poor showing in the end. And we're really struggling to get points against teams that ultimately either destined for the championship, in a relegation battle, or heading in that direction. Forest, West Ham, Bournemouth, now Burnley. It's hugely concerning. Wolves as well. Remember, we'd even beat them and nearly lost them as well if it wasn't for Yao Palini's heroics right at the very end. So that's hugely concerning. But I think this is an ongoing problem for Tottenham in the league. And make sense, by the way. Fifth in the Champions League table and 14th in the Premier League. Of course, factually can be, different, more different than that. But the point is, it's very rare you're going to get a huge swing anywhere else with any other club. It's an ongoing problem. People blame Frank individually. People previously played, blamed Ange individually. But the really, let's be clear. In the last two seasons under both managers, we've been really good in Europe. Consistent, dominant in some occasions, like we were against Dortmund, just last time out in the Champions League. But we both struggled in the league to the point where I'd say we become a mid-table club without an identity. So a lot of people want to discuss Thomas Frank's future, understandably, after this game. I think as a club, you have to make a decision based on what you think, that is best for the club, but also how the feeling is amongst the fan base. I now think Thomas Frank has lost pretty much all of the Tottenham fan base. Again, in this game, constantly, we want Frank out chance and boring Tottenham, and chance aimed at the team, but mainly aimed at an individual in Thomas Frank. And that goal at the end, I don't think changes too much. And even the scenes at the end, there's a few clapping, but a lot of booing and taunting again of Thomas Frank. So it's surprising to see that the board have held on to him for this long. I don't think would have been the same case under Daniel Levy. So I'll get to Thomas Frank in a second, but on this game, where would we be without Romero and Van der Ven? We've got to mention that. Was it 9 goals, I think, between both of them this season? I mean, I see that as, yes, a good tactic by Thomas Frank to get them in attacking positions because his centre-backs of Brentford score a lot of goals. But make no mistake about it, because others aren't stepping up and others aren't doing their job, Romero and Van der Ven are having to go up and beyond. And I think saving Thomas Frank as well as saving the players and the team on the pitch. I think it is a bit of both. I think some players, Romero and Van der Ven, are a prime example. Take initiative, maybe not say ignoring managers' instructions, but going, let us stop this. Let us do what we know what's best, get in dangerous positions and go for it. Again, we never know how much is down to Frank and how much is down to Romero and Van der Ven, but them two can both hold their head high. Van der Ven's got to do better, of course. For the second goal, we just get beat too easily, and I think both goals we conceded are so disappointing. By the way, Burnley's first really good ball in the box of Kyle Walker, that's been missing for them since he first joined this season. It's kind of gone off the ball with a lot of games. I think it's caught, well, I think it's caught catching up with him, put it that way. But really good ball into the box, but no marking. Absolutely, I don't have no problem with a ball like that being our downfall, but I do have a problem with us not marking players in the box. Yes, Tuanzebe as a centre back, you don't expect him to be there, but when you have 3 centre backs on the pitch, you'd hope you have one spare man all the time. And it's just atrocious marking for Tottenham, and Tuanzebe could have taken another 5 touches and still scored. So that's really poor, I think. And Vicario has got, of course, commanded defenders better, but defenders, again, got to do their job, take initiative, and marking is a basic thing in football. It's an incredibly basic thing. Your basics, I think, are find a white shirt and mark your man. That's, for me, the number 2 things in football. Everything else are little minor things or other things that come after that. And we just didn't do one of those 2 key basics for me, and that's a huge issue. But 2 really nice goals. Not only did Van der Ven and Romero both score in this game again and save us again, but there's 2 tremendous goals. Romero bullet header, Van der Ven's first one, really nice finishes. He's sliding on the floor. So frustrating. I look at it as overall, believe it or not, considering the situation at the end, I still think it is 2 points drop, being 1-0 up against a side that haven't won since October, since a side that are destined for the championship, a side that are really struggling for confidence. It's important to note 2 good draws. They got Burnley last time out, before this game, Man United here at the turf, but also at Anfield, they went and got draw. That's positive for them, yes. But a side that hasn't won since October as well, and they're not great. We should, when we're 1-0 up, be putting this game out of sight. And Thomas Frank again will face questions about decisions not to start Tell when he's fresh, ready to go, because Tell was left out by Thomas Frank at the Champions League squad. So little things like that, and starting Spence in the position we did, and changing the formation, I think really was that necessary. So in the end, of course, we take the draw, considering it could have been nothing. But the reality is this could get quite nasty if we get dragged into something we don't want to get dragged into. And to state the obvious, I think you know what I mean. I'm talking about the relegation battle, and I don't for a minute think there's any. I do not think Tottenham go down. I will be very clear about that. But with the games we've got coming up, Liverpool, Man City, Man United, Newcastle, Arsenal, Chelsea, Palace. These are tough games, and being where we are now, about 8, 9 points from the drop zone. There's a lot of these games that we're expected to lose. However, having said that, I back Tottenham more in that type of game than a Burnley, than a Bournemouth, than a West Ham, where there's greater expectation. Tottenham do not deliver when there's that expectation, but we do deliver when it's kind of almost a free hit, like Dortmund was. That's my view on it. So with Thomas Frank, it's difficult, and a lot of people say, "Oh, you flip flop, etc." I think I've been one of his most loyal, remaining supporters, and I know that the problems lie deeper than him. So for me, I don't have a problem with what the board do either way. Personally, what I'll do is I stick with him till the end of the year because it's only going to be an interim that comes in. But there has to be, let's be clear, an emergency button on the table in hand. What I mean by that is it's got to be a button where you go, look, if we are at risk of relegation or we need a new manager bounce or we're in serious trouble, we get worse, then of course you have to pull that trigger. There's no situation that we should be going into the final 3 or 4 games, let's say, of the season with the possibility of us going down. That's not okay, and that's where you do need to pull the plug for the safety of the club. Yes. I think we just need to get through to the summer. I do not think Thomas Frank's a Tottenham manager. I do not think he has boom, he's not going to see his contract out of Tottenham or anything like that. I like Thomas Frank. He's a good coach, but he hasn't done good enough and he's got to do better. But again, the fans, if he's lost the fans, then that's a huge reason for him to go. And I do think he's lost the fans. So that kind of counteracts what I'm saying. What do you think of that game? And how do you feel about Thomas Frank? Let me know in the comments below. But if you're the channel, please subscribe. But a familiar story, Tottenham winning in Europe and dropping points against a side they're destined for the championship. Disappointing, but for this one, thanks for watching and up the Spurs.